is that the number of people in the United States 65 and older grew from 29.6 million in 1990 to 38.8 million in 2010. Now, that obviously that was the last census, right? So think about just the sheer numbers. How many of you in the room are a baby boomer? You are a baby boomer. Look around, guys. Look. Look. Holy moly, right? So think about that at a massive level. Now expand our room out into just your geographic neighborhood where you live. And if we had people raise their hand, it would be roughly the same percentage. If you went out and you said, okay, let's go greater Denver area, and you said, okay, everybody that's a boomer, raise their hand. Yeah. That's what you would see. Because everybody is getting older. All of us. Is everybody not getting older? Okay, just checking. Aging seniors are projected. This is where you guys come in, because we can go, okay, yeah, there's a lot of people getting older, but here's where y'all come in. Aging seniors are projected to move out of an estimated 11.3 million housing units in this decade. In the next decade, it's closer to 15 million housing units. Where are those people moving? Assisted care, independent living, with family, and some of them are selling those houses because why?
They want to downsize, right size.
They died.
Well, yeah.
So just let's be clear, there are a lot of reasons why people move out of a house, and one of them is they died. Okay, that's not the one reason that we're looking for, but it is a reality. But yes, there's a lot of reasons why people do this. Now, I want to talk about this graph briefly. Because when I teach this class, in the very early times that I taught this class, there was a little bit of a disconnect, and people kind of looked at me funny, because they thought that I was going to be talking about this age group, the 65 and over age group, like the baby boomers that all raise their hands. But the last time I checked, the people in that generation, they don't really have a lot of needs outside of the normal needs that people have when they buy and sell houses, right? So people that I'm really talking about in this particular context is the 85 and older age group. That happens to be the fastest growing segment of our population, quadrupling in this decade. Because people are living longer, yes? Yeah. Healthier, living longer, staying in their homes longer, by the way. The average age of someone in an assisted living community across the country is 86. Some of them move in a little before that. That's an average of a resident age, right? But generally speaking, people don't begin to need additional support and help with their activities of daily living until they reach their 80th birthday. And let me just be clear, not everyone does need help after their 80th birthday, right? I know plenty of people in their 90s, and some people even up close to 100 years old, who need no other help other than, maybe somebody to drive them to the grocery store because they don't like traffic anymore. But the reality of it is, if someone is going to need help, it's going to be after about age 80. There's always the bell curve. You've got people who need it at a much younger age, and you got people who don't ever need it. But generally speaking, 80-ish is when people start to go, I need a little more support. Okay, is there anybody that disagrees with that? I always like to hear opinions. Okay, so we're not generalizing to say that everyone needs that, but we are saying that most do. So when we're talking about, in this context, real estate agents helping older adults, that's the age group I'm talking about, okay? Not the baby boomers. And by the way, we don't teach how to market the baby boomers because that's a marketing function. That's not a specialization function. If you want to market the baby boomers, there's plenty of ways to do that. But if you want to specialize in helping people by adding value to them, then we talk about how do you do that with that older age group, or the more needs-based move. Okay? So this is something about Denver that I found online. I do a lot of research because I'm working toward a doctorate in psychology, primarily gerontological environmental issues. And so I do a lot of research, but it was funny because yesterday I put this graph up by itself, and it was actually a different graph. I found it on a different website, and they had changed the title of the graph, and I looked up there and I read it, and I thought it made sense, but it absolutely made no sense. So yesterday I made a total ass of myself. It was great. But today, I know what I'm talking about, so I'm going to share with you this graph. And you can go look it up online, and there's a couple of different places you can find it. But Denver happens to be one of the few cities across the country that is doing a really good job of paying attention to the aging demographic. Why?
So many.
Because you guys are aging, there are more aging individuals in your market than in most any market across the country. Okay? So here's the graph, and it basically is talking about the percentage change of population in Colorado for those over age 65 by every 10-year increments, every decade. So in 2010 to 2020, the aging demographic 65 and older population is going to increase by 61%. What year are we in? 15. We're right smack dab in the middle of that. So what's happening is the 65 and older age group is going to increase to 60 at the rate of 61%. Now, bless you. Following that, the next decade, it doesn't increase as significantly because why? It's already happened, right? So what happens is the generations following you are not as large. The baby boomers we have right now is the largest glut in the market as far as age group. And so what happens is that is only going to increase a little bit. But now we go from having 891,000 people over the age of 65 in Colorado to, in 2030, 1,000,002. And here's what I thought was interesting. Here's what it says. The leading edge of the baby boomers age 55 to 64 in 2010 will be aging into the 65 to 74-year-old age group at 7% per year, or 70% between 2010 and 2020. Here's the comment that I thought was interesting. The U.S. population of the same age will be increasing by 4.2% per year.
Wow.
Again, demonstrating that Colorado is different than average. How do you guys like being different? Congratulations! There are lots of reasons you're different, but that's just one, right? I'll let you decide what I meant by that. Remember, I'm from Oklahoma. I've lived in Florida, Louisiana, Texas twice, and Oklahoma most of my life. And there are some places I absolutely love going, and Denver's one of them. The other one is Kansas City. You guys like Kansas City? Yep. And I love Florida because I love the ocean. So there's no ocean in Oklahoma. Have you guys noticed that? Yeah, it's a real problem for me. Who said earlier, I think it was Tracy, said she moved back here to be near family. She was caring for aging parents. Yeah. I just moved back to Oklahoma for the same reason. So what's one of the reasons people move? Aging parents. Absolutely. And to be near grandkids. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. Yeah. All right, so just another quick stat, and then we're going to jump into a quick exercise that'll help you grow your business right off the bat. Is that according to the National Association of Realtors, and you can look this up, by the way, on if you guys aren't familiar with it, you should probably look it up. If you're a real estate agent, you have access to the National Association of Realtors website, which you should, you will. You can purchase for like $20 or $30 what they call the profile of home buyers and sellers. And they do it annually. And what we have found is that on an annual basis, they consistently report that 1 in 4, since 2012, 1 in 4 real estate transactions involves a seller over the age of 65. Since 2012. Now this was a 2012 number. 1 in 14 home sellers was over the age of 75. And they aren't doing that same assessment, so I can't tell you if that number has changed since 2012, but can we anticipate that number to increase? Just based on pure demographics, right? What does that mean? If the average person is aging across the country, and you have a database of how many people that you market to on a regular basis, how many would you say generally? Throw some numbers out there. 500. How many? 96. How many of you have 100 people you market to regularly? How many of you have 500 you market to regularly? How many of you have 1,000 or more that you market to regularly? Here's what I know. As the demographic changes in our society, your database is aging too, isn't it? Yep. How many of you, I did this poll yesterday, it was fun, let's see if anybody can beat this. How many of you have been in the business for 10 years or more? Wow, look around. How many of you for 15 or more? Keep your hands up. 20 or more? 25? 30? 35? 40? 40? How many, Joe? 70? Okay, I was born in 71, so that means that that's 43 years, give or take? 44, 43, how about you?
76, I guess I'm short.
You're a little short, sorry about that. You've only been in the business for what, 38
39.
years, 39 years. And what was your name?
Bill.
Bill, you still beat the people yesterday who had only been in the business for 38 years, so give them a hand real quick. If you want to know what you're going to look like after being in the business that long, go talk to these two gentlemen. What I think is cool about that is they're still here learning. Are we ever going to stop learning? Does the market ever stop changing? No. Okay, thank you guys for that. Here's what I found out yesterday is that, you know, you think about, these guys said 1976, 1971, many of you said 20, 30 years. That first-time home buyer that bought their first home in their 20s is now how old? Let's add it up, right? Right, do the math. They're becoming a senior. Now, how old are their parents if they're 60?
80.
Right, in their 80s probably. Okay, you guys get where I'm going with this? You have a gold mine in your database that you don't even know about or haven't thought about. Now, some of you have, but not all of you. So here's what we're going to do, an exercise. In your worksheets, you'll see down at the bottom, there's about 8 lines there at the bottom. Is there anybody that would like to leave here today and get a new piece of business? Okay, good. Then this exercise, I'm reluctant to say guarantees, but I will tell you that virtually every class that I teach that somebody does this exercise and follows through with it, they get a lead. Okay?